Okay, in the first chapter you will learn about different types of instruments. I discussed in the previous session. And what is the importance of drawing? So what is importance of drawing? Because importance of drawing is in different types of different areas in diploma, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering. Different types of applications will be there. So I already told you what are the applications. What is the purpose? Main purpose is to reduce the size of the machine. Reduce the size of the machine. So and also Bureau of Indian Standards, uh, and also in this chapter the so ఇవన్నీ previous గా ఏం చెప్పానో అవన్నీ those are not much more important. And just I gave the information about the instruments. Now I'm entering into the practical topics which are essential for you, essential to remember. And so we are entering into the practical things to remember. Okay, so if you want to draw a diagram, so drawing is nothing but, look at this one, this is important point. Drawing is nothing but a language to communicate with pictures and lines. I think this is clear to you all. Drawing is nothing but a language. Drawing is nothing but a language. So by using that language, we can communicate. So that by using this language to communicate with the pictures. For example, if you draw a line like this, this will be different meaning. If you draw a line, this will be different meaning. If you draw a line with thicker, this will give different meaning. I think that this is a different language. So if the line is thin, this indicates a different meaning. If it is thick, this indicates a different meaning. If it is line with some discontinuous, this gives some different meaning. If the line will be like this at the long, so like this, at the end long portion will be there, at the middle small portions will be there. This indicates a different meaning, and this indicates different meaning. So without English and other symbols, other words, English, uh, Telugu language and Persian language and British English and US English, and apart from those letters, apart from those letters, we are using just lines, just to just lines with different manners and different types of pictures, different types of arrows. By using those arrows, we are giving the information. We are giving the information. We are designing something. అంటే సింపుల్గా బాబు ఒక డయాగ్రామ్, ఇఫ్ యూ డాట్ ఒక డయాగ్రామ్ డ్రా చేస్తే దాంట్లో డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇండికేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఆ ఇండికేషన్స్ అనేటువంటిది ఒక్కొక్క ఇండికేషన్ ఒక్కొక్క మీనింగ్ ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. అంటే just by using the drawing techniques, we can communicate with others. So in this first chapter, just we are discussing about the lines, different types of lines, just lines only. So where we use the lines, and what are the purpose of line, and what it mean. So what is that indicates? So this, look at this line. I'm reducing the size, right, so that you can see easily. So here is a line is there. So this is a line like this. A line is there. This is called continuous narrow line. Continuous narrow line. So narrow line is nothing but like this. Thick line is nothing but like this, somewhat thicker than the narrow line. So this is nothing but narrow line. So this is narrow line. What is that indicates? This narrow line, this is continuous narrow line. So what is the purpose which you are using this line? First one is to give the dimensions. For example, so this is a square. Still some of the peoples are joining. So why this is delay? I won't accept those peoples. So for example, if you take this rectangular, if you want to show the dimensions, so if you want to show the length of this one, if you want to show the length of this one, just to extend the line and give the dimension. For example, this is 20 mm. For example, this is 20 mm. So okay, so this is 20 mm. The length of this one is 20 mm. So this dimension is this. This is nothing but dimensioning. అంటే ఒక డయాగ్రామ్కి ఒక లెంత్ అనేటువంటిది ఇండికేట్ చేయడం, ఎంత 20 mm అనేటువంటిది లెంత్ ఇండికేట్ చేయడాన్ని డైమెన్షనింగ్ అంటాం. సో ఫర్ దిస్ పర్పస్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద లైన్ వీఆర్ డ్రాయింగ్, దిస్ is called dimensioning line. So that this is for the dimensioning line. This is dimensioning line. This is extension line. So I will use different one. This is extension. This is extension line. This is dimension line. So we are giving the dimension. So this is 20 mm. So we are giving 20 mm in the form of dimension, so that this line is called dimension line. So we are extending this one, so that this is called extension line. This is the dimension. So this is 20 mm. So we are giving dimensioning, so that this line is dimensioning. I think you understood. So this line is called continuous narrow line is used for dimensioning and extension line. And next one is leader line, reference line. So what is leader line? So I will show that one. For example, in the diagram, two circles are available. The radius of the circle 1 is, this is 1 and 2. Radius of the circle 1 is 30. Diameter is 30 mm. So how to indicate this one? We should extend this one, and this is 530. This is the indication. 530 means the diameter of the circle is, the diameter of the circle 1 is 30 mm. So nothing but we are not writing any letter, just with the dimensioning. With the dimensioning we are understanding. With the dimension we are understanding the what picture indicates. So the leader line is nothing but, this is nothing but a leader line. This is nothing but a leader line. And also, for example, if it is circle, if you want to indicate the center, that will be in this direction. In this way we should indicate the center. So this short center line nothing but discontinuous short center lines used to draw with continuous narrow lines. by using this continuous narrow line used to draw the center center lines, and like this hatching and constructional lines and guidelines, outer lines. So these you can see, you can understand those lines later. If you enter into the subject, you can understand that one. So just I'm giving the basic idea. So this is, keep voice in mute. Is that clear? This is nothing but a continuous narrow line. Next, let us see this zigzag continuous narrow line with a zigzag. So what does that mean? So this is usually less, rarely we are using. This is rarely we use in this drawing. Rarely use in drawing. Regularly we don't use this uh, continuous narrow line with zigzag. So in the previous, just to continuous narrow line, but this continuous narrow line is in zigzag. That is the only difference between a previous line and this zigzag line. So this line used were mechanically represented and the termination parts. So for example, termination interrupts and cutting planes, cutting sections. For example, if you take this cylinder, if you want to indicate the cutting portion, we should indicate with zigzag manner. If you indicate this cutting portion, nothing but after cutting, that will be appear in the zigzag manner. That's why this will indicates in zigzag. So I will explain in by using one diagram. I will explain that one so that you can understand easily. This is about continuous narrow line, or thin line, narrow or thin line. Next one is continuous wide line or wide or thick. So only two lines. One is thick, another one is thin. So thick line, this is thick line. This is thin line. Thin line with zigzag. This is thin line with the zigzag. And this continuous wide line or thick line used actual drawing purpose. For example, if you want to draw a square like this, you should draw with the HB pencil in thickness, with the thickness. But to show the dimensions, you should extension line. And this is dimensional line. This is extension line. This is dimensional line. So 10 mm. So you can see the difference between thick, wide line, narrow line. This is wide. Thickness is more. This one is narrow line. So actual visible lines drawn with a continuous wide, to extend that line to extend that one for dimensioning purpose, we should use thin or narrow line. So this is basically used for visible edges. Visible edges, nothing but this is visible edges and a visible continuous line and a visible continuous line and a main representation of the diagram. So this is most important. Main representation of the diagram. To represent a diagram, for example, if it is a circle, to represent the circle, we should, whatever the lines we are drawing, that line is called as continuous wide line. Continuous wide line, whatever the line which we are using to draw the actual diagram, that is only with the continuous wide line. Remaining are the thin lines. So this is all about continuous wide line. So in the drawing, in the first chapter, I am discussing the different types of lines and purpose of that line. And this is nothing but a narrow line with a dashed. This is also narrow line, and the previous also direct continuous narrow. In first one is continuous narrow, second one is continuous narrow with zigzag, and this is the fourth one. This is third one. Fourth one is nothing but continuous narrow line. So continuous narrow line with a dash, we are giving the gaps, so we are discontinuity. Narrow line, this is also represented with narrow line with a discontinuity. These lines are used for the hidden edges and hidden outline. So how it will be? For example, if you take a cylinder, like this, if you want to indicate the center of the cylinder, here is a center, and at the center will be continuous like this. So I'll redraw that one. If you take a cylinder like this, I will take different one. This is the center of the cylinder, and that will be continuous like this. So this is that line will be in inside. That line will be in inside. So inside lines, hidden lines. Inside is nothing but hidden. Whatever the hidden lines will be there, those lines, hidden lines can be drawn with a discontinuous narrow line. So this line is, so if the line is available in this picture, this indicates that okay, this is that is nothing but a hidden line. So inside one line is there. So that is the meaning of that line, and that is the purpose of the line. Next, so next one is so this is a long dashed dotted narrow line. Long dashed. So look at this one. This is a dashes, between the dashes, gaps are common. Gaps are common. But here, this is long dashed. This is narrow. First of all, this is narrow, and this is a long and a dot. Long and dot. Long and dot. Long and dot. Like that, this line will be there. And the difference between these two is, this is narrow, this is wide. This is the difference. Narrow is nothing but like this. Wide is nothing but more thickness. So the difference between these two is, this is narrow dashed, this is wide dashed. And here also dot. And also, and it means these lines will indicate different meaning. So I already told you, drawing is nothing but a language with symbols and lines. I think that is clear. This is narrow line and long dash and dot. Long dash and dot. This is wide. This is wide and a dot, wide and a dot, wide and a dot. So this indicates center lines or axis. Center line or axis. For example, if you take a circle, if you take a circle like this, if you want to draw the circle center, long dash and dot, long dash and dot, long dash and dot. So this is long dash and dot, long dash and dot, like this. So to draw the center lines or axis lines, we should use this long dash with a narrow and dot, long dash with narrow and dot. And that is the purpose of center lines, and also cutting planes. So cutting planes will be like this. For example, this is a triangle. If you want to cut this line with certain angle, you should indicate like this. This is cutting line. So if you want to cut this with 30 degrees at the center of the, for example, this height is 60. If you want to cut at 30 degrees at the middle, this is the cutting line. This cutting line must be long dash with narrow and dot, long dash with narrow and dot. So this is the purpose of the long dash, narrow line with dotted. Next one similar to that one, only the difference between these two is this dash is wide. The dash is wide. This is cutting planes at the end and changes of direction. Changes of direction and cut outer lines visible parts situated in front of cutting planes. So that this is also cutting, but cutting at the end of the changing direction. So this can be understood with the example. I will explain this example. If you enter into the subject, I will explain. If you enter into the subject, because it's very difficult to understand with the one class all the topics. Next one is next one and last one is long dashed double dotted narrow line. Long dashed double dotted, but here that is not visible, that is not, it is not visible, but I will draw that for long dash double dot, like this. Long dash double dots, long dash double dot. This is the meaning of this one. This is narrow, here single dot, here also single dot. This is narrow and this is wide, but here this is narrow and double dot, double dotted. So that is double dotted. These lines used outer lines of adjacent planes and parts situated in front of the cutting planes. So this topic can be understood when in the sectional views and development of surfaces chapters. After knowing these chapters, then only you can understand these two, and last two topics, last two lines can be understood after knowing the, after entering into the development of surfaces chapter and sectional views. Up to this one, if you have any doubts, you can ask by unmuting yourself.